In today's video I want to find out what's going to happen if you never do water changes on a high-tech planted tank. This one's going to be interesting. Let's get started. So I've been aquascaping for over 10 years now, and when it comes to water changes I've always been doing things just exactly the same way. So like a couple times per week in a new setup, after a month do water changes once per week, and in a rare occasion I might skip a week but do it once in 2 weeks. But I've never set up a tank and just not done any water changes. But that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So this is either going to go really well and I find out that I've been wasting my time with all those water changes, or it's going to go horribly wrong. We're going to get a ton of algae, but at least I know that I've been doing it right. Not sure which outcome will make me feel better, to be honest. Okay, so let's talk about the setup for today. We have an empty tank on the shelf again. This used to be the cave aquarium with a nice sand path in the middle. It was really cool setup, but it just didn't really work because of the big rocks and the big structure. The flow just wasn't optimal. So there was a lot of waste organics and fish poop kind of just piling up on certain places. So with this tank I actually had to do a lot of water changes and constantly siphon out all the waste, you know. Yeah, the past couple of weeks I've been traveling a lot, so I didn't really have time to do that. And as a result we got a ton of algae. So I decided to just strip it down and start something new. Okay, let's do a quick run-on of all the equipment. We have an empty optic white 35cm cube, so it's 35cm all around. Not sure how much that is in inches, but I'll put it up on the screen. Then for the light we have the CHIHIROS A2361. This is going to be a high-tech setup, so I'm also going to use an external filter. I have the Oase Filter Smart 100, and we're going to be using CO2 as well. The only thing this tank is missing is a little foam mat, so let's do that first. Okay, foam is done, so let's talk about the plan for this setup. I mean, you guys have already seen the thumbnail, so it's not really a surprise anymore. We're gonna make a red plants only Dutch style tank. I did one a couple years ago, really enjoyed that one. Yeah, it's just time to do another one, you know. I think it will look really good on the shelf as well. And it's gonna be next to the blue reef tank, so we're gonna have blue, red, and then some green on top. I think it will look really good. So if we're not going to be doing any water changes, I think it's very important that we make sure that the filtration is perfect. The filtration has to be on point. And part of filtration is of course the substrate as well. I mean, substrate is full of beneficial bacteria, and all those beneficial bacteria will take care of excess nutrients, waste organics, all that kind of stuff. So for the substrate, I'm going all out on this one. So the first layer is going to be this Rio Power Volt base. Sounds very fancy, but it's basically just crushed lava rock. And this will provide a little bit of height into the background because I want to make a nice slope towards the back. The second layer will be the Dental plant substrate. It's a very nutrient-rich base layer, so will provide plenty of nutrients for the plant roots. After that, I'm going to add the ADA substrate additives, Clear Super, Tourmaline BC, and Bacter 100. Just beneficial bacteria, some wood charcoal powder, and something that encourages root growth. So yeah, I'm sure these will help as well. And lastly, we'll cover everything with a good layer of Aquasoil. Okay, substrate is done. We're not going to have any hardscape in this tank, so we can immediately move on to the plants. I've ordered 7 different red plants in vitro, and I'm also going to take some trimmings from some of my other tanks. So for example, in the shallow behind me I have the Alternantera Reniki Mini, I have some red Kabomba in the bamboo tank, I have some red Myriophyllum in my black water setup, so I think in total we'll have about 10 different red plants. Now before I start cleaning all these plants, I want to make a planting map. So of course we're going to have short plants in the foreground, taller plants in the background, but I also want to look at leaf shapes or textures. So for example, I have Rotala macarandra. This one has a very round leaf. So I want to make sure that next to that I put a plant that has a different leaf shape. So for example, the Rotala malici. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to figure out the best position for each plant. Okay, I actually just found one more pot of crypt flamingo. So actually we have eight different types of in vitro pots and then 3 different types of trimmings from other tanks. So in total 11 plants. All the in vitro plants prepared. The trimmings taken from the tanks. It's not a whole lot of trimmings, so I might just have to add some more later. And then the crypt flamingo that we will add later as well. Okay, let's start by giving everything a good spray. Everything, I mean the substrate. I want this substrate to be quite wet, so let's just add a lot of water. Here we go. First plant going in is the Hygrophila araguaia. Normally I would use these in the mid-ground, but there's just not really a lot of red foreground plants, so this will have to do. We'll just have to keep it nice and short by trimming it often, I guess. Now in a traditional Dutch style tank, symmetry and 2 groups of the same plant is like a no-go, it's like not allowed. So maybe if I find another red plant or a red foreground plant, I will replace one of these groups. So like I said, this area will stay empty for now, and I think in a week or so I'll plant the Cryptocoenia flamingo. Okay, I thought top-down view might be better. So behind the Hygrophila on the left side, I'm planting the Merdania Engelsea, something like that. So it's green right now, but it should turn a reddish color as well. Okay, next to that we're gonna plant the AR Mini. And next to the AR Mini we have the Bacopa Salzmani Purple. Okay, then behind this bamboo type of plant we have the Rotala Singapore. So then next to the Rotala Singapore and in front of the AR Mini we have Rotala Valici. Then behind the Bacopa Salzmani and next to the Rotala Valici we have the Ludwigia Super Red. Okay, then the last layer. So I'm starting in the center with the Rotala Macrandra. Okay, then we'll do the Kapombo on this side, but these stems are like super long. So I'm just gonna kind of like split them up. So there's 1 stem turned into 3 stems. Okay, then the last plant for now, Myriophyllum red, I think it's called. Okay, all done planting. Doesn't really look like much right now, but it's always with a Dutch style tank. It's just a bunch of plants in some substrate. But hopefully in a few weeks it's gonna look really cool. So we can now move the tank to the shelf, fill up with water, and then we can let our no water change experiment begin. Okay, tank is currently filling up. I'm actually using RO water for this tank. You might hear the RO unit buzzing in the background noise. I'm using RO for this tank because, well, we're not going to be doing any water changes, but of course we'll be doing top-ups. So my idea is to fill the tank with RO water, I'll remineralize it to a certain level, and after that I'm only going to be doing top-ups with pure RO water. So technically over time the water parameters shouldn't change, it should just stay the same. If I would fill this tank up with tap water and I would do top-ups with tap water, over time the water hardness will increase because we're constantly keep adding calcium, you know, and other minerals. Of course I could start it with tap water and just top up with RO, but my tap water is not great, so I'd rather just start with RO, keep the water nice and soft, and just do top-ups with RO. Quite a long story, but I feel like I just had to explain that. Okay, tank is all filled up, filter is installed, and the CO2 is installed. So the only thing we need to do is we need to remineralize the RO water, because I don't think plants can grow on pure RO. They still need some calcium, they still need some magnesium. So we need to add that in. So I have a TDS meter, I have my minerals. This is the APT Sky Water Booster. So we just need to check. At the moment we are, it says 13 or 14 ppm. And ideally I want this number to be 120. So I'll just take a little bit of this powder, sprinkle it in. Don't really know how much I need, I'll just kind of guess it. So I'll start with a little bit more. So I'll start with that. I'll let it dissolve for a little bit, and then in like 10 minutes I'll test the TDS again. maybe add a little bit more, and I'll just keep doing that until I hit 120. It can be a little bit less, can be a little bit more, it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, a few minutes later, TDS is good. I think it was 125, something like that, so that's fine. There's two more things I want to do. First up, I want to add some beneficial bacteria. So I have some cecum stability, so I'll just pour a little bit of that in as well. Just to kind of help cycle the tank faster, I guess. And now the only thing that kind of worries me about this no water change experiment is excess nutrients. I mean, we've used quite a lot of Aquasoil. Aquasoil tends to release a lot of nutrients in the very beginning. I think in a way it will be fine. It will be fine because we have a lot of fast-growing plants, so they will kind of soak up those nutrients. But just kind of help with that as well, I have some floating plants. These are redwood floaters. They're not really red just yet, but they will be hopefully in a few weeks. So hopefully with the floating plants, with all the fast-growing stem plants, we don't really have too much of an issue with all the excess nutrients. Okay, fast forward 9-10 weeks later, something like that. I didn't want to publish this video until I've achieved some proper red colors in all these plants. And I think we got there right now, but it definitely took a little while. But I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago that I installed a new light on this tank. And since then, things have really taken off. We'll talk more about the light in a little bit. Let's talk about the 0 water changes. So the plan for this tank was to do absolutely no water changes. But you guys will know that about a month ago I moved to a new studio. And to be able to move this tank, of course, I had to drain it completely. So technically this aquarium did get one massive water change. But that was on the 15th of March and the tank was set up on the 2nd of February. So basically the first water change was after 6 weeks, and by that time the aquarium was already stable. I didn't really have any more algae issues. So does it count? I'm not sure. You guys can decide for yourself. But it was definitely weird to not do any water changes, especially, you know, when you're doing maintenance, when you're cleaning the glass, when you're trimming the plants. I'm always used to follow that with a water change. But yeah, I didn't do it. I simply just did top-ups. And I kind of was expecting things to be worse in terms of like algae. There definitely was some algae issues, but that was mainly because some of the trimmings that I took from the other tanks already had some hair algae on them. So they kind of just got a little bit worse, but yeah, nothing too crazy. So in a way it was kind of easy to not have to do water changes, but yeah, not sure if I would do it again. Okay, let's talk about what else happened to this aquarium. After the move, I didn't really have space for the external filter anymore, so I removed the external filter and just switched to a very simple hang on the back filter. I'm still using CO2. I've just removed it for the last cinematic shots. And the light has changed. So I'm now using the CHIHIROS WRGB2 Pro, the 30cm version. And guys, this light is a beast. It's super powerful. I think I'm running it on like 60% intensity. I'll put all the exact settings on the screen. But since switching to the light, the colors of the plants have just, they just look insane. I think my favorite plant is actually the Bacopa Salzmani Purple. I really love that plant. It looks so good. It's a bit different from all the other ones as well. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share this already, but as you guys know, my main channel sponsor is Delta Plants. And the Bacopa Salzmani Purple will soon be available in their assortment, so that's super exciting. Some of the plants have changed as well. So as I mentioned in the beginning, the crypt flamingo was added after a week or after 2 weeks, and luckily none of it has melted, so I'm really happy with that. It's a very slow growing plant, so it's still very small at the moment. And you might have noticed I have a different foreground plant as well. So about 2 or 3 months ago, I went to the UK, to Horizon Aquatics, because they organized a workshop with Josh Sim. Josh Sim is one of the world's best aquascapers, and I really wanted to attend his workshop. And he actually brought some of his own plant trimmings. One of those plants was the Rotala Mexicana Goyas, and I was very lucky to get some of those trimmings from Josh. So that's what the plant you see here right now. It still is a little bit green, but it's starting to develop some red tips, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, it's basically a rotala that you can use in the foreground because it kind of grows horizontally under really intense light. So that's pretty cool. In the background, some things have changed as well, because on the left side I used to have the red kabomba, but it's a bit of a difficult plant, it seems. It doesn't really grow very well. So I've recently added some mermaid weed, but it was in vitro, so it's still very small and it still needs to grow a little bit taller. But yeah, I think if we have the mermaid weed in the left back corner, I think that will look really, really cool. Then of course we needed some fish as well, and I was really thinking like, what fish is going to stand out in the red plants only aquascape? So I went to the shop and then I saw these rice fish. I think these are the platinum color variety or silver or I don't know, galaxy. They always give them weird names. Yeah, we have a small group of rice fish and I'm really enjoying them. They're just beautiful fish. They're nice to see from the top as well. And besides that, we also have some Podosynclus, we have some Amana shrimp, and I'm still considering of adding something else, maybe just some Neocaridina shrimp. I'm just not sure about the colors. Of course, cherry shrimp is not going to work, but maybe some yellow Neocaridina shrimp or some, maybe blue would look nice actually. Blue Neocaridina shrimp. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys would suggest for this tank. One thing we haven't talked about yet is the liquid fertilizer. So with this tank, I didn't start dosing until like week 5 or week 6, because we had plenty of nutrients in the substrate, plenty of nutrients from the zero water changes. But I thought after week 6, like, yeah, we could start dosing something now. So right now I'm using APT0. So this fertilizer doesn't have nitrates or phosphates, it's potassium and micronutrients. And this fertilizer also helps to bring out those intense red colors in these plants. Because it doesn't have any nitrate, a low nitrate concentration in the water column really helps to bring out those red colors. So this is what I'm using right now, and I have a discount code for it. I think it's MJ Aqua. This should give you 15% off, and it kind of helps to support the channel as well. So I'll leave links in the video description. So my first zero water change aquascape. It was definitely interesting to try it out. Would I do it again? I don't know. I mean, I enjoy maintenance and water changes are super easy to do, especially on these small tanks, you know. And I still think like doing water changes just helps to prevent a lot of issues, especially because of all the excess nutrients. So I think for me personally, this was just a one-time thing. I think this is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, don't forget to smash the like button. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.